Today I'm going to do this video Toastmasters style. If you don't know what Toastmasters is, it is an organization where they help people with their public speaking. Groups of people in different chapters get together and just work on their public speaking skills. Many years ago, like in 2010 or something like that, I joined Toastmasters for only like a few months because it was right across the street from the bank that I was working at. So I went before my shift, or I don't even know, my day started at the bank. And I did it for a few months. But I do remember from Toastmasters that they say to give a speech, you should tell the audience what you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about, and then recap what you talked about. So this is what I'm going to do today. And lately, I've just sometimes just turned on the camera and just started talking from the heart. But today I am still talking from the heart, but I had a few ideas that came through that I just wanted to share. So, hence my Toastmasters recipe that I'm going to implement. So, this is what I'm going to talk about today, everyone. 1, sharing themes coming up in my life. 2, this idea of us being interconnected. 3, the idea of co-creation. 4, the idea of leaning on your spiritual team, ancestors, guides, angels, and 4, is that 4? I don't know, I lost count. The next thing is the idea of raising your energy to meet your spiritual team on their frequency, because they're operating a higher frequency. And the last thing I want to discuss is Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a famous astrophysicist, and I watched a video about a month ago where he discussed the intersection of spirituality and science. Okay, so now let me talk about what I'm going to talk about. So the first thing of sharing themes coming up in my life. So I think what I talk about generally is something that's going on in my life. And, I think since we're all interconnected, that it's good to share what's going on and just the ideas that are coming through, because we're in this web of life and ecosystem together, and sometimes we just feel so isolated. But energy I'm a big believer in energy. So this idea of energy, it can't be stopped through this wall. Energy never dies. Energy always keeps moving. So a theme that, when something's coming up in my life, who knows, it could be coming up in your life too. Or maybe it's going to come up later, or maybe it's something that you didn't even notice that was coming up, and you're like, oh, damn, now that I heard her say that, it is true. That is coming up in my life. So, this idea of just sharing what's going on in your life, and this idea of us all being interconnected is somewhat grounding to me, and it helps me be kind to myself and be kind to others, because whatever is going on within is going to come out. And so depending on my internal environment, what's going on inside, do I have an internal war? Do I have internal agony? Do I have internal happiness? Do I have internal joy? And just keeping my internal environment clean and sharing what's going on is not only a service for myself, but a service for everyone. So in that, then it makes me think about co-creation and working with something bigger than myself, because to me, there's no possible way that I'm just in this alone. There is something bigger than myself. And I'm a studier of many things, many philosophies, many religions. I grew up in a very religious household with 2 different, very opposite religions from my mother and father. They were super opposite, and they are still both very staunch in their religious philosophy. So I've gone a whole circle of adopting both of their religions, then adopting atheism, and then now I'm just more on a spiritual path, or agnostic, whatever easy term there is to use. Just curious. And so, it's more just me being humble and saying, I don't fucking know. Because when I was an atheist, it was I 100% know. Fuck that. But kind of started eating some humble pie, and I was like, damn, how do I know? So right now I'm just in the curious phase. And I do love studying different ideas and philosophies and religions, and it helps me understand our societies and history better too. So in regards to co-creation with something bigger than myself, I think about my spiritual team. So my spiritual team is made up of angels and guides and ancestors and the energy of plant medicine, the energy of nature, and I connect with all these things, and it's been a long time coming. It's something that I've worked on, my connection with these things. And to do so, to connect with them, I have to practice silence and listening, because the noise in my brain can be too loud sometimes, and I have to allow silence. And that's why there's different tools to help you kind of, metaphorically speaking, get past the waves in your brain. So obviously there's meditation. A lot of people do meditation. I enjoy gardening, even if it's just going on a walk with your child or just walking by yourself. Whatever it is that helps soothe your brain to get past those waves. And from there, it's easier to connect with something bigger than yourself, with your spiritual path, as it were, or your spiritual team. Because it's just so hard to do everything by yourself and to actually think that you're doing everything by yourself. There's cosmic forces that are going on that are definitely outside of my hands and outside of your hands. So yeah, so it's like when something is happening, I'm just like, okay, ancestors, okay, great grandma, like, help me out here. You have a higher perspective than I do at this moment. And if you believe in angels, if you believe in fairies, whatever it may be that you believe in, but just connecting with your spiritual team, I guess, is the point. That something that's been coming up for me, that's been helping me, because I have been going through a lot, because as a collective, we've been going through a lot. So it's just helped me surrender and look to my spiritual team for support and do things in service to the divine, to the source energy, and with life, and co-create, partner with the universe. So that's just something that's been coming through, and it's been helping me when I've been getting anxious or I feel overwhelmed. And I'm feeling overwhelmed because I feel like I'm having to do it all by myself. But when I take a step back and I step into that frequency of my spiritual team, it just seems, not like everything just goes away, but it just seems so much better. And I'm able to, from that place, navigate all the things that's on my plate. And I'm not adding shit to the plate. You know, I don't need to add other stuff to it. So yeah, so that's that idea. And this idea of raising your energy to meet your spiritual team on their frequency. So it's kind of what I was talking about getting past the waves in your mind. And once you get to that point, you know, raising your frequency. Feelings are not bad. They're all messengers. So whatever comes up, you know, anger, depression, sadness, happiness, joy, they're all there as messengers. And if we can just work with them and listen to them, you're able to raise your frequency little by little by little. And a very easy practice to raise your frequency is gratitude, i.e. appreciation. Appreciate what you have, the good things that you do have. And as you appreciate and revel in that, you know, it's you just keep moving in that momentum. And when you move in that momentum, our angels are at a super high frequency. So they have to try to come down just a little bit to meet us. And so we need to reach up to meet them. So yeah, so this idea of whatever you need to do to raise your frequency, to meet with them, you know, do it, and do it honestly. Do it just very and kindly to yourself, just moment by moment. Okay, and the very last thing I wanted to mention was about a month ago, I watched a YouTube video with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is an astrophysicist who, he has many books, but he has a new book out, and I don't even remember what it's called. But he did an interview, and the very last question in the interview was what got me really excited, because the reporter asked, okay, if you have one thing that any listener should know from this whole book and just from your message in life, what should it be? Then he starts going into this idea, And I can't even reword the way he did. I'm going to link the video below. But he goes into this idea of we are the cosmos. The cosmos are within us. So we're literally shining stars. Like the interconnectivity of what I was talking about earlier is what he was talking about. And he was talking about how there is this intersection between science and spirituality. And that is just so interesting to me. And so again, this is just a theme that's coming up in my life. I definitely cannot fully speak on it because I'm still very much exploring it. But just the idea that about science and spirituality meeting together and that we are stars and we are the cosmos and we are connected, it helps me go from victimhood to being able to step into empowerment. So yeah, making empowered choices. Yeah. So I'm going to put that video in the link below, and it was like the very last question. So if you don't want to watch the whole interview, it's only like a 15-minute video, but I understand we're in the TikTok world where we want everything like under a minute. I get it. So anyways, okay. Oh wait, I forgot my formula, the Toastmasters formula. So now I'm going to recap what I shared because that is the formula for public speaking. Okay. So what I talked about, what I shared in this little video was I'm just sharing themes that come up in my life on this YouTube channel. This idea that we're all interconnected, the idea of co-creation with the universe, and that co-creation leads us to thinking about who your spiritual team is and who do you work with, ancestors, guides, angels, Jesus, the universe, God, and then the next thing, oh my goodness, the next thing I talked about was ways to raise your energy to meet your spiritual team on their frequency. And then I went into the idea of appreciation and gratitude. The very last thing I talked about was Neil deGrasse Tyson, an astrophysicist who discusses the intersection of spirituality and science. Okay, my friends, that is all I have for today. I hope you are doing well. And I am out for the count. From my heart to yours, I'm sending you LOVE with an exclamation mark. Ciao. You know, I have this button thing and it's not working.